29 years. For nearly 3 decades, Canadians have watched as the Stanley Cup was awarded to their southern neighbor. Not since the '93 Habs has the nation seen the cup come home, as all who have sought to bring the cup back to Canada once again have so far been denied in their endeavor. But every once in a while comes along another challenger with serious ambitions of etching their names on the cup and breaking the supposed curse of Gary Bettman. And this year, that team is the Edmonton Oilers. After a roller coaster regular season that saw the Oilers start off the season hot, go ice cold in the middle, change coaches, and subsequently make a run to the West Final, the Oilers now suddenly find themselves in the group of serious cup contenders, with one important distinction. They're the best Canada has to offer. Surveying the other 6 Canadian teams scattered across the nation, there are 3 groups that categorize Canada's teams: the rebuilders, the teams in the middle, and the teams with serious ambitions. The Habs and the Sens reside in the first category, neither team in a position to capture the cup soon as they progress through their rebuilds. In the second category are the Canucks and the Jets, both teams teetering between retooling and competing, neither fully embracing one or the other, and as a result, they don't really scream Stanley Cup contenders. And finally, the teams with serious ambitions: the Leafs, Flames, and the Oilers. Toronto still have their own first-round demons that they will have to exercise before becoming serious cup contenders, so really, it's just the Flames that are the Oilers' main competition, especially so with their acquisitions of Huberdeau, Weegar, and Kadri. Looking at the Oilers, this is a team that had a very good offseason and accomplished what they needed to do to try and take that next step. They brought back Jay Woodcroft to be the full-time coach, and since replacing Dave Tippett, Woodcroft's taken the job and ran with it, invigorating an Oilers team that was torpedoing under his predecessor. Under Tippett, the Oilers played a style of hockey known as just outscore your problems, a totally sustainable effort that saw the Oilers score above league average with a dominant power play in their back pocket, but also fall below the league average in surrendering goals to go along with a lackluster penalty kill. Woodcroft comes in, and through his first 35 regular season games, the Oilers' offense nearly touched 4 goals per game, in part due to the arrival of Evander Kane, while also seeing the team's goals against per game rate drop by nearly half a goal. The penalty kill also went from below to above league average. The playoffs saw Woodcroft's Oilers break 4+ goals per game, and despite the Oilers surrendering many more goals in the postseason, the Oilers still had a better goal differential per 60 than any playoff team not named the Colorado Avalanche. Not bad for a rookie head coach in his playoff debut. And if Woodcroft's success can be translated into next season, then perhaps the Oilers have found a whole new gear to their game with their new bench boss. The Oilers aren't just the McDavid and Draisaitl show anymore either. First-year Oilers Evander Kane and Zach Hyman brought much-needed relief, and in the process put up great regular and postseason performances. At their respective cap hits, it's very cost-efficient production. Kane's off-ice issues brought his cap hit down, but at 5-on-5, Hyman's metrics from this past season are comparable to his old Leafs teammate, John Tavares. The key difference? Tavares makes $11 million. Hyman makes half of that. Ultimately, though, the team needed to come out of free agency with a goaltender, and they got one, luring Jack Campbell away from Toronto. Edmonton hopes they are getting pre-All-Star break Campbell that had the 5th highest save percentage in the league at .925, and less so post-All-Star break Campbell that finished the year with an .894. Which version of Campbell Edmonton will get is yet to be seen, but what exactly would Campbell have to do to backstop the Oilers to a cup? The answer, unsurprisingly, is put up great numbers in the postseason. Looking back at the last 10 Stanley Cup winning goaltenders, it's no easy club to join. Just the names that pop out immediately, like Vasilevsky, Murray, Crawford, Quick, all guys who won multiple cups while posting elite numbers in the process. As such, when calculating the average metrics of a Stanley Cup winning goalie based on the past 10 years, it's no surprise that the average backstopper needed a playoff stat line consisting of a .923 save percentage, 8 goals saved above expected, and 3.6 goals saved above average if they wanted to take a victory lap with the cup. But what if I told you there was a secret club of goaltenders that don't fit into this typical mold? 3 goalies who had a postseason run with stats falling under the established benchmark, yet culminating in victory. Those 3 goalies are none other than 2022 Darcy Kuemper, 2010 Antti Niemi, and 2009 Marc-Andre Fleury. Kuemper recently joined Fleury as the only goalies in the Money Puck era to ever win the Stanley Cup while posting up goals saved above expected and above average metrics in the negatives. Niemi's 2010 run is comprised of one of the lowest goals saved above expected and above average metrics of any Stanley Cup winning goalie in the Money Puck era. And yet, the hockey world remembers them as Stanley Cup champions. These merry band of misfits have proven that it's possible for a goalie to win the cup without having the most eye-popping stats in the world. It's not super likely, as some goalies put up even more absurd stats only to not even win the cup, but it's possible. Fleury had the Pens in front of him, Niemi had the Hawks, and Kemper had the Avs. The Oilers are a team that can cover for Campbell's mistakes with their offense if need be. And if they can make the West Final with Mike Smith as their primary goaltender, there's little reason to believe they can't do it again with their new shiny toy. Of course, it'd be better for all parties if this new marriage resulted in fewer goals going in the back of the net, as in the playoffs, the Oilers allowed 3 or more goals in 11 of 16 games, or 69% of games. That was the 4th highest rate out of all playoff teams, and it's the highest by any team that made it past the first round. The next closest was Florida at 60%. The high volume of goals surrendered wasn't mostly a fluke either, as the Oilers had the 5th highest expected goals against per 60 of all of the playoff teams according to Money Puck, and they did not have an Igor Shesterkin to save them like the Rangers above them did. But Campbell does not have to be Igor Shesterkin. He just has to be better than Mike Smith. So what does the path to the Cup final even look like? Through the first 2 rounds, they'll most likely have to beat 2 of the Flames, Kings, Canucks, and or Golden Knights. It doesn't seem like the Oilers have seen the last of the Calgary Flames anytime soon, and it appears as though the 2 Alberta rivals are on a collision course to do battle yet again at some point. The Kings are no easy opponent either, pushing the Oilers to 7 games last season, and they got a huge upgrade with their acquisition of Kevin Fiala. With how close that series between the Oilers and Kings was, they look to be a tough opponent should the teams go toe-to-toe once again. Vancouver was on a 106-point pace with Bruce Boudreau manning the ship, and with Bruce back for a full season, the Canucks might be looking to get back into the playoffs and play spoiler. Vegas might be in the mix as well. They're a team looking to have a strong bounce-back season this year, and despite narrowly missing the playoffs this past season because of their numerous injuries, a healthy Vegas still looks like a potential playoff team if, and that's a massive if, goaltending can hold up in Robin Lehner's absence. Should the Oilers get past those would-be challengers, then they'd have to face the Dragons sitting atop the mountain, the big bad scary Colorado Avalanche. There's simply no other way around it. In order to be the best, you have to beat the best. Perhaps it will be the former Nordiques that ensure that Canada's drought continues, and as long as the Avalanche powerhouse remains the biggest threat in the Western Conference, the Oilers will have to size themselves up against Colorado. Only in beating Goliath will the Oilers be able to make their return to the Cup final for the first time in 16 years and face their awaiting Eastern Conference opponent. The hockey world would watch as McDavid and Draisaitl played for the chance to hoist the Stanley Cup as old Oiler legends did before them, and perhaps Canada would finally get to stop hearing about this narrative.